Oh! Oh mon gros!
Well, obviously, the first thing to say is that, we can't condone these actions by any means. People are saying it's an anti-Semitic attack, and obviously they're entitled to that view. But it does seem to me that though this group was specifically targeted, Chabad or Chabad Bondi, I think they're called. I'm not sure how you pronounce it. They're a pro-Israel group. I think their leader is a ardent supporter of the IDF. Fundraisers for the IDF, pictures of him with Israeli soldiers in Gaza, I think, on tanks. So my feeling is that this was probably a targeted attack rather than just a random attack.
The popular narrative, which is condoned and pushed by pro-Israel forces and the far right, is that Muslims never condemn this. It's an Islamic issue. That's the common denominator here, that this is Islam. This is the blowback from allowing Islam into the West.
Yeah.
And that ultimately, the issue here we have to talk about Islam and whether we should allow Muslims to immigrate.
Israel's genocide and massacres of Palestinian men, women and children is the root cause of all this, and no one's talking about it.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Assalamu alaikum, and welcome back to another episode of Muslims Uncensored with me, Robert Carter, and Roshan Saleh. Now, we have a lot to react to. Of course, there was the attack which took place at Bondi Beach in Sydney, Australia, and other stories as well. We're going to dive straight on into that. Obviously, it's a sensitive subject which is on everyone's minds at the moment, and there's a lot to react to. So just to clarify for anyone who hasn't been watching the news, there was an attack on Sydney Beach over the weekend, and a lot of people were killed in the attack. There were two gunmen who targeted a Jewish religious event which was being held on that said beach, and there was a lot that happened. People got killed. One of the shooters was killed as well. One has been arrested and has been charged with the murder of those people. And there was actually a separate incident which took place during that, where an Arab Syrian Muslim man actually intervened, wrestled a gun away from one of the shooters, and has been hailed as a hero ever since. So lots to digest. Let's go straight to Roshan on this. I'll put some of the footage on screen, which perhaps we can react to as you talk. This is, of course, footage of the attack itself. Just to clarify, it's graphic footage, so anyone who's a bit not so good with this can look away now. But as you can see, a number of casualties there, and many people injured as well. Like I say, this is a Jewish event, so this was Hanukkah, the first day of Hanukkah, which is their annual religious festival, which lasts for a significant period. This was the first day, and a lot of casualties there. We've got footage of the gunman as well. And then the man in the white t-shirt you can see is Ahmed al-Ahmed, the Syrian man who managed to wrestle away a firearm from one of the shooters. And obviously we'll talk about Ahmed later on. But Roshan, just give me your initial reactions to this story and what you make of it all.
Well, obviously, the first thing to say is that we can't condone these actions by any means, because even Islamically, from a Sharia point of view, you can't just go shooting people up on a beach. We're not living in Dar al-Harb here, and from the Islamic point of view, I mean, the only groups that would dissent from that point of view would be ISIS and Al-Qaeda, and it looks like this was an ISIS attack. But in countries where we're not at war, we are not allowed to do this kind of stuff, even though it does seem to be a targeted attack. People are saying it's an anti-Semitic attack, and obviously they're entitled to that view. But it does seem to me that though this group was specifically targeted, Chabad or Chabad Bondi, I think they're called. I'm not sure how you pronounce it. They're a pro-Israel group. I think their leader is a ardent supporter of the IDF, fundraisers for the IDF, pictures of him with Israeli soldiers in Gaza, I think, on tanks. So my feeling is that this was probably a targeted attack rather than just a random attack. But that said, a 10-year-old child did die in it. And, it's un-Islamic to shoot at people on a beach. We can't take the law into our own hands. We can't become vigilantes in these countries. The other thing I would say is that obviously the man that intervened, Ahmed al-Ahmed, very courageous act, obviously put his life at risk here. And it kind of destroyed the narrative, didn't it? Because the narrative was that all Muslims are bad, all Muslims are extremists, all Palestinians are extremists. But this guy completely flipped that narrative, and a Syrian Arab refugee from Idlib saved the day.
Just to update people, obviously Ahmed al-Ahmed was hospitalized. He was shot, I think, twice during the incident. So he wrestled away a firearm and then was shot at. He didn't shoot anyone, something which he has been praised for. Obviously, he had the chance there to gun down one of the attackers, but it just wasn't in his spirit to do so. So he took the firearm and that was it. But he has pulled through, so he's survived the incident. And he's actually received a lot of support globally. Big personalities, including like Piers Morgan, have hailed him.
He was. They did say initially that he was a Lebanese Christian. Did you see that?
That's insane.
For one day, Five Pillars actually was the first non-Australian outlet to report that he was a Muslim.
Yeah.
And we were all accused of being liars for saying that because he's a Lebanese Christian. Apparently, of course, he's not. He's a Syrian Muslim. But yeah, it's carrying on now. It's like I said to you last week. It doesn't. The far right, they're blatant liars.
Yeah.
And they carry on their lies, and they know they're lying, but they have no morals, and they just hope by dint of repetition that lie becomes a fact. But one thing I want to say, Robert, before we go on, is that people are being radicalized by Israel's genocide in Gaza. And, these IS guys that did this, none of us knew them. None of us sheltered them, not hiding under our beds. They're not plotting and planning with us. They're self-radicalized. And you know what they're radicalized by? Images of dead Palestinian children on their phones every single day. Israel's genocide and massacres of Palestinian men, women, and children is the root cause of all this, and no one's talking about it. You don't see anything on mainstream media. It's the elephant in the room. You don't see anything on mainstream media. It's like that context just doesn't exist. But this is the context. That is not justifying what happened. I've already said that I think it's un-Islamic to go shooting at people on a beach and taking the law into your own hands. This is something for the authorities to do, not for individuals to go shooting at people. But, unless we deal with the root cause, these attacks are going to happen again and again. And I said to you when the Manchester attack happened, I was actually surprised this hasn't happened more often, because the images that we are seeing are deeply radicalizing, and people can't take it. And some people, even if it's a minority, even if it's 1 out of a million, are going to go over the edge and commit these murderous acts.
Yeah, 100%. Well, that's the thing. It's like the blowback is starting now. I mean, there was the attack in Manchester. There's this attack in Australia. There may be more. And again, I'm not saying that with joy or anything like that. No. Obviously, we don't want to see this.
We don't want to see any more.
But we
want to see the end of the genocide as well.
The popular narrative, which is condoned and pushed by pro-Israel forces and the far right, is that Muslims never condemn this. It's an Islamic issue. That's the common denominator here, that this is Islam. This is the blowback from allowing Islam into the West.
Yeah.
And that ultimately, the issue here, we have to talk about Islam and whether we should allow Muslims to immigrate, when in reality, as you say, Muslims have actually been warning the West time and again. If you do this, there will be blowback. Yeah. It's as simple as that. Like it's human nature. Yeah. It's natural. It's going to happen. We don't want it to happen. We're telling you, don't do this, but it will happen. And they rubbish it at the time. Iraq war, Libya, Syria, Afghanistan. Now, with Gaza as well, with support for Israel, there's going to be blowback. There's going to be consequences. Chickens are going to come home to roost. And unfortunately, it means that there will be probably more of the lone wolf-style terror attacks, which we've seen in Europe in the past. What Israel is doing by by defending its actions in Gaza, not apologizing, not distancing itself, not trying to water it down, by literally defending its actions.
Being proud of it.
And being proud of it, including the genocidal bits, is it's spreading anti-Semitism, it's radicalizing people, as you say, and it's making ordinary Jews' lives less safe globally. That is the problem. It's Israel that ultimately, like you say, we have to discuss this. The mainstream media is way too scared. They'll never touch this with a 10-foot barge pole because they just know that they know the deal. Yeah. They know how this works. You talk about Israel a way we don't like, anti-Semite, you lose your job. Anti-Semite, that presenter gets disappeared. So they're not going to talk about it. There's no journalism here, no free speech. In fact, Five Pillars is going to address the herd of elephants in the room far more than anyone in the mainstream media would.
I mean, the way they've reacted to it is like their solution to stop this happening again is to ban chanting, pro-Palestine chanting, ban For the River to the Sea, ban globalize the Intifada. Oh yeah, that's going to solve the problem, isn't it? No, actually, it's going to add one more grievance.
It's chanting. People who are anti-genocide chanting stuff. That's why Jews are getting killed around the world. Yeah. How freaking stupid do you have to be? It's like, rather than talking about Western foreign policy, rather than talking about Israel, rather than talking about the genocide, it's just deflection. And yeah, it's attacking the rights and freedoms of ordinary people who had nothing to do with this attack, by the way. Yeah. And they're just gifting all these idiots, like all these far right people. They're like, everyone is saying it's Islam. We have to talk about Islam more. We have to criminalize Islam more. I mean, do you know what? One of the things that never gets discussed, apart from what we've already highlighted, another elephant in the room, is the attackers usually come from a background of drug abuse. You find this very often. I'm not sure if it's the case with this Bondi Beach attack. Those guys, I haven't seen anything like that. But like the Manchester guy, the guy who attacked the synagogue in Manchester, history of drug abuse. Marijuana specifically comes up time and again. The attacks that have happened in London in the past, attacks that have happened elsewhere, and it's not just the Muslim attackers, it's attackers of all colours and stripes. Usually there's a history of drug abuse. So if you want to find a common factor here that links all these different crazy attacks together, usually the guys that do it are mentally unhinged because of a lifestyle where they've had marijuana, for example, from a young age. There you go. That's something which we should be talking about, but instead you get some moron saying, no, it's actually Islam, it's a repressive religion.
Look,
I mean, Ahmed al-Ahmed, a practicing Muslim Syrian from one of the most Islamic parts of Syria in the Arab Muslim world. What did he do on the day? He's even saying, my religion compelled me to take action, and this is a guy who was too scared to fire the gun. But he felt compelled to risk his life.
But have you seen the UAE influencers jumping up and down the back of this and basically speaking like robots and
they're all
blaming it all on the Muslim Brotherhood and extremism? I mean, even Farage said that the answer to this is banning the Muslim Brotherhood. Yeah. I mean, these guys are just shameless opportunists.
Well, let me play out this. I reacted to this. There's some... I mean, she's obviously a supporter of Israel. I don't actually know who she is.
I saw this live. Yeah,
I don't actually know who she is, to be honest.
She's a Jewish Australian who lives close by.
Okay, but she's obviously a supporter of Israel. And on the day of the attack, shamelessly, she made it all about... let's criminalize the Palestine movement, basically. I mean, this is the type of shameless opportunism which really needs to be called out. I'm sorry, regardless of what's happened.
What did she say? Let's have a listen.
Yeah. What's your view? Because we've heard from other Jewish people living in Australia this morning, they don't think enough has been done up to now.
My view is really clear. They're very much playing it safe and they pay a lot of lip service. And I've been told that the actual police who are witnessing death threats and chants at, like I have to call it what it is, pro-Palestinian rallies, when they hear death to Jews, gas the Jews, and from the river to the sea, which is a clear directive of kill Jews worldwide. Globalize the Intifada means kill Jews wherever you are. And just so you know, the Jews that go to a Hanukkah party are very open. Everybody there were probably very few ultra-Orthodox Jews at this party. It's mostly secular Jews who look like everyday Aussies.
Yeah, let me react to this because I was actually watching this live, and before that clip, she actually said something else. She said basically that she'd come across a woman in a hijab who had sworn a child, but she didn't report it to the police because etc. etc. So I mean, I don't think that even happened personally, but I've never heard "gas the Jews, kill the Jews" at any pro-Palestine rally that I've been to, and I've been to several. Obviously, if someone's saying that, they should be arrested. But I've never
They're
heard
not saying it.
Never heard it, and no one's saying that.
No one's saying
okay.
that. No one is
Globalize the
saying that.
Intifada.
There are loads of Jews
Let
at
me
these
finish,
protests.
Robert. Globalize the Intifada, and what was the other one? From the river to the sea. Only rabid Israeli Zionist fanatics believe those are calls to genocide or anti-Semitic. Now, if you want to take their point of view, fine. But every other sane person knows that these are Palestinian liberation slogans that are used by Muslims and non-Muslims and have been for 50 years. Intifada literally means uprising. And yes, there was a violent intifada, but there's also lots of peaceful intifada activities as well. So we're not going to let these Zionists police our language and tell us what we mean when we say our words.
Yeah, it's an outrageous thing. And the journalist, the Sky News journalist, didn't challenge her at all. I mean, that's outrageous to suggest that pro-Palestine marches are responsible for what happened in Australia, the attack, to suggest that pro-Palestine rallies are going around chanting, "gas the Jews." It's insane. This woman, I'm sorry, she may be upset, she may be emotional, but that was outrageous comments that should have at least been moderately challenged, if not more, by the presenter. The reason people are marching every week in their thousands and possibly millions globally is because Israel is killing innocent people. They're slaughtering Arabs, they're killing kids, they're attacking not just Muslims, Christians in Gaza, for God's sake. And the world is looking on and doing nothing. So what do you want us to do? So we're not allowed to protest. We're not allowed to talk. We're not allowed to say anything critical of Israel. Well, if you're going to take away our rights as human beings to at least vent when we've seen something as traumatizing as a genocide against women and children, then you're going to radicalize people more so. I'm sorry, but...
You know, it's been 2 years where we've been marching, boycotting, trying to put political pressure on, civil society pressure, etc. And there hasn't been one damn change in Israeli policy, Israeli genocide, and Western support for it. So naturally, I think it's logical, even though I think it's wrong, I think it's logical that some people will take the law into their own hands and do stupid things, and yes, do murderous things. We want that to stop. We don't want to see any more of it, but in order for that to stop, you have to find the root causes, address the root causes. We said this after the Manchester synagogue attack. We warned of further attacks, and I'm warning again of further attacks, not because I know about any plans, but I'm just putting 2 and 2 together, and that equals 4.
Yeah. This was an interesting article, which I think people should read if they haven't already. Israel's most ardent supporters suddenly discover that killing innocents
their moral
is
compass
wrong. So yeah, again, it's just double standards here. I mean, the fact is, Israel is probably the worst thing to hit the Middle Eastern region since like the Mongols or the plague. You know, it's like the second Israel, 1947, concept of Israel occurred, we've just had nothing but war, bloodshed, genocide, ethnic cleansing, and global instability as well. So I think now what people really need to do is keep questioning themselves about, is Israel a genuine ally of anyone, including the West? Is there a benefit of Israel? I mean, ultimately, it shouldn't be there anyway. It's a colonialist project. What's the point in keeping this going if all it's doing is, even from a Jewish perspective, it's spreading anti-Semitism globally? You know, it's literally spreading anti-Semitism globally. It's not making a safe haven for Jews because, you know, from Israelis' perspective, they're always getting attacked by its neighbors. And the fact is that the reputation of the Jewish community is being tarnished because Israel is genociding people and saying, we're a Jewish state, we're doing it to protect wild Jews. I mean, there's even talk now about the term of Jewish supremacy. We need to talk about Jewish supremacy. A lot of people are talking about that now. And it's because of the actions of Israel, and they're doing it in the name of Judaism. And there's a lot of Jewish people that don't support Israel, don't support Zionism. They criticize it. They criticize the genocide. They don't want anything to do with Israel. So, you know, it's even from that angle, Israel is of detriment. So I think we just have to come to a consensus now. Israel just cannot be allowed to continue. It's a project which has failed. It's not a winning colonialist project. The Palestinians aren't going anywhere. Let's pack it up now. Let's roll this down, because it's just leading us to World War III. That's the way I see it.
The reason why this far-right Zionist alliance exists, and it is an alliance, a financial alliance, a media alliance in many ways. We've seen Tommy Robinson going to Israel, having the red carpet put out for him by an Israeli minister. The reason why it exists, because Israel realizes that Muslims will not back down and will not accept their shitty, illegitimate, racist, apartheid, colonial, warmongering, genocidal state. And that's why they want the whole world to hate Muslims, and they're using the far right to, basically engender that hate.
Yeah. Now, I'm going to jump a topic to this one, because I kind of mentioned this point already, the fact that, a lot of Jews do not support Israel and what it's doing. A lot of Jews do not support Zionism. And there are many Jews, religious and secular, who feel like Israel's actions is actually causing them a lot of hardships wherever they be around the world. That was showcased nowhere better than at this protest, which I attended about a week ago now, I think, of religious Orthodox British Jews who came out in significant numbers, I think at least 1,000 plus, descended outside the Israeli embassy in London to condemn Israel for a lot of its crimes, but in particular, the forced conscription of religious Jews into the IDF. I'll play out a snippet of that and then we can react to it. This is in their own words why they're against Israel and why they're against serving in the Israeli army.
Is forbidden by the Torah for multiple reasons. First and foremost, the Torah prohibits creating a sovereign Jewish state before the coming of the Messiah. Secondly, the Torah forbids Jews from waging war against other nations. And thirdly, because it is impossible to truly keep our faith within the secular and anti-religious environment of the Israeli Defense Forces.
We are fighting for our existential right to remain religious Jews and not be part of a secular society. Israel is a secular group of people. They don't speak for Jews, because Jews and Israel are two different things. Israel is a country and Jews is a religion, and those two things don't come together. It's not, you cannot be a pope if you don't believe in your religion, you don't believe in God. So if they don't believe in God and his laws, they cannot represent Jewish people. They can only represent Israeli society, but not Jews anywhere in Israel or all over the world.
So, just to clarify, these are British Jews who are deeply religious, and they feel that Israel is not a thing that religious Jews, actual proper Jews, can endorse or condone or are even in support of. They obviously acknowledge the fact that a thing exists in the region called Israel. It has a regime and an army and everything. They don't want anything to do with it, okay? They don't want anything to do with it because they believe that according to Judaism, the religion, the Jewish people are not allowed to set up a state. They're kind of in exile. They're waiting for the return of the Messiah, who has not yet come. They do not believe in Jesus, of course, as people should know. So they're waiting for the Messiah. And until he comes, they are forbidden from having a state of their own. They are to wander the earth and settle wherever they need be. And there's a lot of Jewish beliefs in, fledgling loyalty to the state that you're in, and they were very pro-British there. They were thanking the state for allowing them to practice Judaism, for keeping them safe in Britain. So this Zionist propaganda that, the world is unsafe for Jews, we have to have Israel so that we can, oust the Palestinians and protect ourselves, they rubbished all that. They think that Britain is safe, that they're secure here, that Britain allows them freedom of religion. and that Israel is just non-Jewish. And they said that the guys behind Israel are secular, they're non-practicing, and that they're not Jewish, basically.
They're not Jews.
That was his opinion. That was his
Yeah,
opinion.
this
Now,
question that-
you know, I don't think he's being anti-Semitic here.
Well,
I think he's
he
more...
can't be, he's a Jew himself, right?
Exactly, yeah. He's like Jewish because he believes in everything about Judaism. And
It's a
he said that Jewishness is not an ethnicity, it's not a nationality.
It's a religion.
It's a religion. That's why he said you can't be a Catholic, you can't be the Pope if you're not Catholic.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what the point he was trying to make.
Yeah, this is a question that I put on my Twitter because, what constitutes a Jew? What is a Jew? And for me, you can't be, you can't not believe in God and not believe in the Torah and not go to synagogue and still be a Jew. Because if you were a Muslim and you didn't believe in God or believe in the Quran or, you know, go to mosques, then you wouldn't be a Muslim. In fact, if a Muslim rejects one word that is in the Quran, one word, okay, and accepts every other word that's in there, he's a kafir, all right? So that's logical to me, that how can you be Jewish and not believe in God? And the answer, some people would say, is that, you know, Judaism is a race as well as a religion. But is that something that the Zionists have just made up? I'm not sure. I think there's a split even amongst religious Jews on whether, you know, Jews that don't believe in God, or a lot of them are like that, whether they're sinful Jews, but they're still Jews because Jews is an ethnicity. I'm not sure. But for me, I know what, I'm pretty sure what a real Jew is and what a real Jew isn't. And I'm sure that Israel is not full of real Jews, all right? You know, it doesn't represent Judaism. But it does sadden me that 70% of the world's Jews still support Israel. That is a damning figure. It is. And it's hard to get past that, especially when it's committing a genocide.
Yeah, no, that's a valid point, and people have been raising this. I think it's a very fair criticism, very fair point to raise, and it should be questioned more because it is a stain, absolutely. If Muslims, 90% of them were supporting ISIS.
Not 1% support ISIS.
Even after we knew what ISIS was doing.
Yeah.
You know, all the head chopping and for unjust reasons and killing innocent people, then yeah, absolutely, that would be damning on us. But like you said, Muslims didn't condone or support that. It was widely condemned very early on.
And obviously Israel's much worse than ISIS. But yeah,
Israel's killed way more people
just
than
count
ISIS.
the body bags. Count the body bags.
Israel's killed way more people than ISIS ever has, you know? And it gets
ISIS are choir boys compared to Israel.
Interesting topic.
Tommy's Christmas Carol.
We've kind of discussed Judaism now. Let's talk about Christianity.
Yeah, let's go. What's next on our hit list?
We're going through all the religions today.
Let's debunk every world religion apart from Islam.
So, Tommy Robinson, he's got his plan, he's got his agenda, and right now he's jumped on board this Let's Hijack Christianity bandwagon. That's what's happening here. So, Tommy Robinson, far-right nutter who loves nothing more than inciting people and, you know, being very Islamophobic and platforming Islamophobes. He's now doing an event a couple of days ago where he wanted to do a carol singing service outside Downing Street, and it was a non-political event. He actually made a special mention. We're not going to talk about Islam today, guys.
That's why no one turned up.
Obviously, yeah, exactly. Because obviously these guys are obsessed with Islam.
Yeah.
These so-called Christians, they're obsessed with Islam. He actually had to say, guys, no Islam today. I know you guys love hating on Islam, but let's give it a miss today. Small turnout.
About 1,000?
Yeah, I think so.
But all right. I mean, compared to his Unite the Kingdom march, which was like 150 to 200, 150 to 200,000 people, it was a small turnout. But still, 1,000 people. I mean, your average church would kill for that kind of attendance. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so Tommy Robinson now is the new Archbishop of Canterbury in my eyes. He's the new face of Christianity in this country.
Well, that's the thing. Obviously, we can joke about it, and I think it is pretty hilarious as well. Tommy Robinson, this absolute numbskull and a far-right bigot, basically becoming the face of British Christianity in Britain. It is pretty hilarious. But at the same time, there are some genuine Christians that still remain here. Hard-pressed to find any. They do exist, Roshan, I assure you. And actually, it is a shame that their religion is basically being hijacked now by a bunch of... by an ideology of hate.
Yes.
Because, you know, obviously I'm a Muslim now, I'm proud Muslim. It's the best decision of my life. You know me, Roshan. I love nothing more than doing dawah and promoting it and trying to convert everyone else to Islam. But I was Christian once.
Yeah.
And I still have some liking of that community. You know, I have good memories of my childhood, you know, going to Boys Brigade and attending some church services. Obviously, I look back on it now and I know that it was a flawed religion, but these are a community of good people. You know, I know you don't like white people, you don't like being in Britain, but actually there are good people there. It's a good community, and they're not far right. You know, they're not far right. The proper Christians in this country are feel-good people that like everyone. You know, they wouldn't say boo to a goose. They smile at you in the street and they engage in good acts in their community. But unfortunately now they're represented by Tommy Robinson. He's like, you say they're archbishop or whatever. And it's a shame. It's very damning. I'm actually going to bring up an interview that I did with an actual Christian. I'll just bring it up now. Perhaps you want to just give me your reaction while I load that, Roshan.
What Tommy Robinson's Christmas Carol? Yeah, I think you said it in your video. It's just a grift. It's not a grift. I don't believe Tommy Robinson's a Christian. I did listen to his speech, and he said, "Oh, he's a sinner, and I was rejected by the church, but now I found God when I was in prison. A pastor came up to me, and I found God, and you know, etc." And I just don't believe him. I think he's a liar, and you know, that's what I think. He'll blow whichever way the wind blows, and he'll be a Jew tomorrow or a Hindu the day after, as long as the money's there.
Yeah,
as long as the money's there.
I think Hinduism, yeah, is something attractive to him. So I knew that I would be in an environment which was being led by basically phony Christians, as you say.
Fake Christians,
So I decided, you know what, I might not actually be able to find any decent Christians who know anything about Christianity there. So let me speak to one who actually does know and who has practiced Christianity all of his life.
Who does actually believe in God and
does actually
read the Bible and go to church.
Exactly. So I thought, let me find an actual Christian, but it won't be at the Tommy Robinson rally. I'll have to go and interview. So this is Stephen Sizer. For anyone who doesn't know, he's a Reverend who was of C of E, Church of England, and he was recognised by the church, but he was actually expelled because of his pro-Palestine views and activism and his criticism of Israel and Zionism. So here you go, a Christian who's not a Christian Zionist. He's actually a proper Christian who stands up for moral causes.
That's what happens when you're actually a good person in the Christian church. You get chucked out.
Exactly, you get expelled. So yeah, let's hear from Dr. Stephen Sizer about his take on Tommy Robinson and the Christian nationalist movement, which is kind of rising to some sort of prominence here in the UK.
Talk about unite the kingdom. What they're doing is conflating the United Kingdom political reality and the kingdom of heaven, which is a spiritual reality. They're not synonymous, and they're exploiting Christianity for a political agenda. It's a reality, but it's a heresy. And Tommy Robinson, you asked, a sudden interest in promoting Christianity. Well, I think he's learning from what's happening in the States, seeing the rise of Trump and the power of the Christian right. Ethno-nationalism is a popular concept. It is fueled by promoting fear of the other, the stranger, the foreigner. It's pride in one's nation. These are concepts that are antithetical, they're contradictory to genuine Christianity. But essentially it boils down to the summary of the law. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, your soul, your mind and strength, and love your neighbor as yourself. Loving God with all your heart, all your mind, all the strength means that he comes first. And what we see in Christian nationalism is a love of nation above faith, above God. It's an idol. It's a romantic, fictional notion of one state that will have harmony, will have perfection, will have peace, if only we do ... a political agenda. It's the same within Zionism, which is a perversion of Judaism. It's a form of Christian nationalism within Judaism. But far-right concepts are totally incompatible. Anti-refugees, anti-foreigners, racism, bigotry, these are anathema to the Christian faith, Jesus. So we shouldn't judge people. So I don't judge Tommy Robinson. I wouldn't say he's not a Christian. But equally, Jesus has told us to discern. Discern is not the same as judge. Judge is to write off somebody. Discern is to make wise decisions based on the evidence. And Jesus in Luke 6 says, no good tree bears bad fruit. Each tree is recognized by its fruit. The confusion that we have is the word Christian. Most people use it as a noun, as a name, a badge, but actually it's a verb. One is either a Christ follower or not. You know, Jesus says in Luke 6, why do you call me Lord, Lord, and don't do what I say? You see, behavior is an evidence of belief. If the behavior is not there, then the belief is not there. So if someone's not following the teaching of Jesus, they're not following Jesus. And my assessment is that Tommy Robinson is not following Jesus. Clearly not following Jesus. I don't see any evidence that he is a Christ follower. I don't see a love of the stranger, a love of the foreigner, a care for those who don't agree with his political agenda. As I said, he's exploiting Christianity for his own ideologies. It's a form of fascism. It's the antithesis of Christianity.
So yeah, that's Stephen Sizer, a genuine Christian who's done some really good work throughout his life and has suffered some consequences for it, but he has no regrets. He's pro-Palestine and has stood up for moral causes like that. He basically said that he thinks you're not allowed to judge. So Tommy Robinson is adamant he's had this Christian awakening and he's gone through some spiritual journey and has arrived at Christianity. And at the event, you can see he's really pushing that to this audience. Yeah. And I think there were some genuine Christians there. And he's trying to portray himself as a born-again Christian. But Stephen Sizer just said, look, we're not allowed to deny, the fact that he claims he's Christian. But he said Jesus gave us, and, Christianity gives us the ability to discern. Discern, yeah. He said you can discern, and he said he sees nothing in Tom Robinson's attitude, behavior, his language that suggests this is a Christian that he's looking at. He doesn't recognize him, and this is someone who's solid Christian, and he doesn't look at Tom Robinson and recognize a Christian there in any way. I'm
a bit like that with Andrew Tate.
Yeah,
and too. Islam. It's like I don't recognize the Muslim in him, although I can't see what's in his heart. But let's not digress. It's interesting, and it's a fascinating interview. I think, so basically what Stephen Sizer is saying is that Tommy Robinson and the far right, these fake Christians, are breaking two of the main commandments of Christianity. To love God first. No, they love their nation before God. And the second one is to treat your neighbor and to love your neighbor as you would love yourself. Yeah. And they're downright nasty to their neighbors.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
They're vicious and hate-filled and nasty to their neighbors.
Yeah, absolutely.
So basically, to the biggest commandments of Christianity, they couldn't give a toss about.
And they keep talking about, like, Patrick Bet-David, even Tommy Robinson and other American Christian figures, for example. They keep saying this thing. When they talk about Islam, they say Islam is all about fighting and violence and warfare. The Prophet, peace and blessing be upon him, was a warlord. Jesus wasn't like that. Jesus never fought wars. Jesus was kind to everyone.
He said he came to bring the sword. That's what he said in Matthew, I think, wasn't it?
Well, yes, there's that. But they say that during his life, he didn't do any violent acts and he was killed and sacrificed himself for mankind and all that type of stuff. But these guys are not kind and peaceful and forgiving and, kill with kindness. I mean, Tommy Robinson's a thug who's been to jail several times. And these people support, like, foreign wars. They support Israel during a genocide. These guys are total hypocrites.
Because obviously as Muslims, our role model is Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and we study his seerah, his biography, and we try to model ourselves on him and his actions, from little things like how to brush your teeth to bigger things like, politics and spirituality. But we really do study his, and obviously we all fall well short of what the Prophet did. But that is our intention, to be like the Prophet. Yeah. It doesn't seem like Christians' intention is to be like Jesus. Because obviously Jesus, Prophet Muhammad was in a temporal sense, in a secular sense, we would call him a success in life, because he achieved so much in this world, whereas Jesus probably wasn't a success in this life in terms of, he was persecuted, he didn't have many followers, he didn't have an army, he didn't create a nation, etc., etc. Now, we know that Jesus was one of the most successful human beings that ever will be in this world and the hereafter. But from a material, secular sense, a lot of people would say he wasn't a success in this life. Yeah, all these kind of, grifters and millionaires, billionaires, and all they think about is the temporal world, making money, having big cars, all the worldly things of life, which Jesus didn't think about. That's what they're obsessed about. They don't care about Jesus as a role model whatsoever. And that's another thing that differentiates them from us.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the fact is that I genuinely have always been religious. And obviously Jesus has always been an important figure for me. And that's what led me to Islam, in part. I realized that very quickly that Christianity is not practicing a lifestyle which Jesus would have practiced in his life or would have advocated or condoned when he was here. Islam is the closest you could possibly get to that, and that's why I genuinely believe that Jesus, peace and blessed be upon him, was a Muslim.
Do you believe
that's something which Muslims say and Christians say, oh, that's offensive? I go, is it really? Because Muslims, to Islam, like Christianity, it's not like a thing. You don't like pledge allegiance. It's not like a club you just join and you get a little badge and that's it, you're a Muslim. It's a set of actions, like you said. And if you deviate from those actions, then you are not Muslim then and there, and you leave Islam potentially. So you are Muslim through your actions. It's just like...
And intentions and beliefs, yeah.
Absolutely. So if I stop praying, if I stop fasting, if I stop reading Quran, then, it's like I'm basically not a Muslim. If I just give up on it.
I should stop you there. If you do that, it means that you're a sinful Muslim. But it's more about if you reject the beliefs. That's what takes you outside of Islam. Because maybe. you can not pray 5 times a day, but still believe you should be praying 5 times a day. But you're just lazy, or you're not a good person. But you're still a Muslim. You're just a bad Muslim.
I heard if you stop praying, for example,
if you do it with belief, yes,
you just give up. Just don't want to pray anymore.
Yeah, it takes you outside. Yeah,
that's what I heard.
Yeah,
but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
Well, if you don't think prayer is necessary, that takes you outside Islam. Look, I'm not an alim, so I'm not going to comment anymore.
Yeah, me neither.
But I think that I know that there are some views that, let's say, if you miss 3 Jummahs, that might take you outside of the fold of Islam.
That's what I've heard. Yeah, that's what I've heard.
But generally, it's whether it's not necessarily the actions. It's more the beliefs and rejecting the beliefs that take you outside.
Yeah, you believe like prayer's not important anymore or something like that. It takes you out.
Or you believe that LGBT lifestyle is compatible with Islam.
Yeah.
Or you believe that, sins are okay and there's no issue with it.
Yeah.
Then you're a kafir, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But yeah, it was funny to attend. I was there.
Do you believe, I've got a question for you. Do you believe that at least some people in that crowd were genuine Christians?
Yeah, I have no doubt. I mean, Tommy Robinson is radicalizing people, including, I think, some people who do genuinely believe in Christianity. I think from our perspective, we'd criticize them and say, how many times do you go to church? What's your favorite Bible verse? Do you even know? And these people won't. But these are people who do actually believe in God. They believe that this is a Christian country. But, they're just not that smart necessarily. And it's not me who said that. It's actually one of Tommy Robinson's colleagues who said that, young Bob. I wanted to react to this before we move on. Basically, young Bob, Christian activist who's been to Speaker's Corner and has had a pop at some of our Dawah guys. And, he's pushing... He's carrying on in the footsteps of Charlie Kirk and trying to do that kind of thing over here. He was exposed... in a leaked conversation where he basically said that Tommy Robinson's supporters, a lot of them are just stupid. Okay. He said they're all stupid, and brain dead is the word he used. And he actually said that Tommy Robinson has private appreciation for Muslims because he grew up in an area where there were a lot of Muslims, and apparently some local Muslims have defended him behind the scenes because they knew him from school, and I don't know what the story is there. But privately, Tommy Robinson actually respects Muslims.
Has he suffered any consequences for this?
I think privately he probably has. Let's hear the comments, because I think this is a pretty hilarious story.
So Tommy himself, because grew up in Luton, he shares this private appreciation of Muslims that integrate to this society. However, the people that he surrounds himself with and the slogans he will bring out, of course, embodies that disliking you. So, for example, the Talib, I forget what Luzbek first, but they tried to do a hit piece on that through contacting some of the Asian boys at his school. So they all supported him, even after one of the ends. And the reason being was because, you know, they liked him. And I see that a lot of the time, people who can accept the fact that some Muslims at the right path and others can't. However, when you bring such a brain-dead support base, unfortunately, the nuance gets lost in the crowd of people that...
Yeah, I mean, look. I think it's not just young Bob. I was saying to you off screen. I think basically all these people have contempt for their support base. You know, I bet Tommy has complete contempt for some of his support base. Nigel Farage, Richard Tice, these posh boys, they must think Reform UK voters are thick, man. They probably think they're thick as two short planks, but they're just using them to get into power. It's a grift. It's a massive grift.
Yeah,
and
yeah. I know, and because the thing is, you know, if he respected his support base so much, he wouldn't like call upon them all the time for funding for whatever, and then not fight those legal battles. You know, do you remember that story he was like, "We're going to fight this. We need some funding for our legal fight," and he just totally confessed to everything. I wouldn't fight the fight. So you know, these people, you know, they're snake oil salespeople who clearly don't think very much of their support base, as you see here. And I think young Bob. Tommy Robinson is smart enough to know that he can't let this story escalate any further, so he just let it go and has publicly reconciled with Bob. But I'm sure behind the scenes they were like, "Oh, you silly little sod!
Yeah, of course.
How dare you say this? Look what you've done! You've embarrassed us all." But yeah,
you know, the last thing I would say about this is that obviously
young Bob's
Tommy
a Christian
Robinson
as well, by the way.
and young Bob, they're the new face of Christianity in the UK. But that's only because, you know, the Christian church has left a wide gaping hole for them to fill by just being absolutely pathetic and not following their religion and not maintaining their principles and making Christianity a laughing stock and a free-for-all. Of course, you're going to get grifters and snake oil spokesperson or salesmen coming in, as you say, to fill that void. Yeah,
I mean, historically, the Christian church here would have been opposition, at least, to politicians and to whoever was in power. You know, they would have had a block where they would have discussed political issues, and if they felt that the country was being led in a bad way on some social issue, they would be outspoken on it and apply a bit of pressure.
You know what they did?
Get on the pulpits and incite, rile up their congregation. But now, they're just a dead lame duck, aren't they?
You know what they did? They obviously allied themselves very closely to the state, the secular state, and they did that because there was money in it, and in return they got lots of property, schools, etc. But ultimately, I think in the Bible, you know, Jesus says something like, "Give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar, and give to God what belongs to God," which implies a bit of a separation right there, doesn't it? And they just got too close in with the state, and the state obviously outmaneuvered them and corrupted them, and Christianity is dead in this country as a result.
Yeah, that's the real issue here is, there's a liberal secular agenda to destroy religion in this country and globally, I think.
And they co-opted the state, they co-opted the church.
Yeah, that's why these Christians who think that Muslims are their enemy are idiots, because I mean, as we heard from our Jewish friends just earlier in the show, Zionism is an extension of that. It's a secular nationalism, which is at war with religion, even in Israel itself. It's at war with religious Judaism. It's at war with Christians in Gaza. It's at war with the Islamic world. You know, so there is a global agenda here. Some people call it the Islamophobia industry, but really, if you think about it, this is an anti-war movement. An anti-religion movement, but Islam is the best religion in town, so that's why I guess they're targeting Islam more than anyone else.
Anything else today, Robert?
Yeah, so we've got... do you want to talk about your France trip?
I'll do it really briefly. I mean, I was in France over the weekend, videos and articles to come, but it just reminded me, I mean, there was an Islamophobia conference taking place. There's only about 100 people, not massive, but to be honest, it's a miracle that it even took place, because the crackdown on Islam and Muslim activism in France is total. You know, kind of thousands of Muslim organizations, mosques, madrasas, businesses, restaurants, gyms even being shut down. 50 million, I think, euros worth of Muslim money confiscated, stolen by the state. and just a general crackdown on freedom of speech in France, and Muslim activism. So the fact that this actually took place was a bit of a miracle. I attended it, met a lot of Muslim activists there. There is a resilience there to this, and they're kind of mounting legal challenges. They're proud of being Muslims. They're proud of their Muslim identity. But all I would say is that this could be Britain in 20 years' time. I know a lot of Tommy Robinson fans would love that to happen, but we need to learn the lessons of France to prevent that happening here, because our Muslim brothers and sisters in France, just across the channel, 1 hour away, are having a really hard time of it. So let's show them some solidarity, inshallah.
Yeah, that's interesting. And I think brothers and sisters, you might have seen we're consuming these fizzy drinks on the show. We've done so for the last couple of episodes, and I think they deserve a shout out. It's basically a halal fizzy drinks brand, which is fantastic. Quite frankly, we've enjoyed it a lot on the show. My favorite is pomegranate. It's V7. You can find it online, and possibly I think they're trying to break into some supermarkets as well. There's a trend now, I think, of Muslims breaking in to the market. I mean, there was a pro-Palestine cola brand out there that was spearheaded by a couple of sisters up north. I think they managed to break into Asda's recently. Let's support our own community here. I think that's one lesson which we should learn from the past. If we don't prop ourselves up and become self-reliant, then of course we leave ourselves vulnerable to our enemies.
How much were you paid to say that, Robert?
I was paid I've had about 3 cans of this so far, so that's a pretty powerful message, I think, for just 3 cans.
Yeah, no payment for saying that, but I agree with the principle, and it is a really nice drink, available at your local supermarket.
Don't let Roshan put you off. Don't let Roshan's face put you off. It's a great drink. It tastes better than he looks.
And if anyone, which isn't hard, if anyone wants to feed us or water us during these shows,
please do.
We'll give you a shout out.
Yeah, you can see
hoodies, free hoodies, anything like that.
I'm a big guy. I need regular feeds, or else
we're
I get
short
irritable.
of clothes, aren't we? We both haven't got many clothes.
I'll take the money. I'll take the money. You don't have to buy it for me. Just give me the money.
You're a cash man. You're a cash man. Okay.
I'll buy my own food. Just give me the cash to do so. Well, there we go. A little shout out there. There is.
Alex Jones, was it? Alex Jones?
Yeah, we've got Alex Jones. Let's react to that. So I've already mentioned earlier about there's this kind of war between the Christian right, particularly in America, but it's come over here as well. Tommy Robinson, Alex Jones, and others, they're kind of on the pro-Israel side of the right-wing Christian split. And then you've got like Nick Fuentes, Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens. They're actually on the kind of pro-Palestine side of it. They're against the genocide. They're very critical of Israel.
I think they're more anti-Israel than pro-Palestinian, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But, they've said so. I mean, to their credit, they've said some stuff for Palestine amid the genocide.
So what does Alex Jones say?
Alex Jones, clearly rattled by this, has decided to go on the offensive, and he's attacked what he calls fake Christian right-wing patriots for basically advocating for common ground with Muslims on the anti-Israel stuff. So yeah, let's play it out now, because this clip went fairly viral on X.
Because I worry about you guys. It's not the criticism I care about. It's about you. I will literally post, oh, look, Chernobyl's leaking again. We've got a problem. Or, oh, look. It's like, why are you covering up for Jews? Or, oh, man, this hurricane sure devastated this area. Please donate. Jews. Look, the Muslim Brotherhood is celebrating the murder of all these Jews. Yeah, why you care about them Jews? Well, A, I don't want to kill the Jews. And B, the Muslims want to kill all the Christians too, you dumbasses. So there's a lot of right-winger populace, not a lot, but it's a big minority, that literally love Islam. They all kissy-fishy all over the internet. And they have joint symposiums together, and they talk about the, National White Alliance with Islam. You guys are idiot. Absolute. I'm going to explain to you like this, like you're 5 years old. You won't even know what it is, though, to you fake nationalists, fake Christian patriots. If I had a glass of water here and a glass of water right here, and one had a couple tablespoons of arsenic in it, and the other had a couple tablespoons of cyanide in it. And I'm like, don't drink the arsenic and don't drink the cyanide. And you're like, why are you covering up for the arsenic? And I'm like, Here's an easier one. There's a box right here. It's got
another
5 or 6
one, please,
black widows in it, 5 or 6 brown recluses. Both deadly, both can kill you. And I don't want to stick my hand in either box. Can you understand that? Like, I don't want a heart attack, and I also don't want cancer. See, it's like you
make it up as it goes along.
Like, I don't want to eat dog shit or cat shit. You understand, right? You can get that in your head.
Yeah.
But the Muslims are funding a lot of this Israel obsession. That Israel is
you know what?
Control of everything, including what time you have a bowel movement.
Yeah,
if I'd have done that, I would have done another take. Do you know what I mean? That's all you have to do is do another take.
He was struggling there with those crappy analogies.
Unless it's alive or something like that. But I mean, yeah, you know, I can't
He's
really
really
react to that because I have no idea what he's talking about. But it is funny to see this this divide amongst the MAGA movement. I think we should do all we can to exacerbate that and encourage it.
I mean, the fact is, you know,
when your enemies are making mistakes, don't stop them.
Yeah, I mean, Alex Jones, I don't know what his intention is. Maybe, I know that they're paying, Israel's paying people for posts, so maybe they made him an offer or something. I don't know. Who knows? But basically,
Wacko,
he was adamant, Islam is the threat. We got to talk about Islam is the threat.
But things like that, you know, it's like Muslims want to kill all Christians. I mean...
It's insane.
I mean, we actually don't, genuinely. We don't want to do that. Do you know what I mean? There's no compulsion in religion. We'd like you to become Muslim, but it's actually against our religion to force you to become Muslim, genuinely, you know? Yeah. And there's no one more than me that would like to see the whole world Muslim. But unfortunately... Well, not unfortunately, I'm not allowed to kill people to do that. You know, that's just I'm going to go to hell if I do that. So,
yeah, it's just,
I don't know what more I can say.
They're clearly
they'll accuse me of doing taqiyya now. I was saying that. Yeah.
Yeah. Again, these are people who don't know anything about Islam or Muslims or what we think and feel. They have an agenda. It's a pro-Israel agenda, and they have a lot of Israelis, including the Israeli state, the regime, actually feeding in. I mean, we saw what Netanyahu said to all those influencers. You remember he said TikTok's important and we've got to back our influencers. You've got to learn from Israeli influencers to push the right messaging. You know, these guys want to control the narrative, censor anyone else who talks about anything else. And these idiots in America seriously think that, what, Israel cares about Christian values? They keep saying these Judo-Christian values. They don't exist. There's no such thing. There's no such thing. It's a different religion with a different set of values. And when Christians go to Jerusalem and preach, or if they were to speak as loudly as Alex Jones does, they get attacked in the street. Do you know what I mean?
They have contempt for Christians.
What about the Palestinian Christians? You seriously don't care about them? They're being shot at in Gaza. And you're telling me that Israel's more important?
I don't want to get too sectarian about this, but the fact is that Muslims love Jesus. And we venerate Jesus, and we want to be like Jesus.
They say
Jews don't even consider him to be a prophet.
Yeah.
The Jewish leadership killed Jesus, right?
Do you want to respond?
They got the Romans to kill Jesus.
Do you want to respond?
I'll leave it there.
Do you want to respond to this idea? Because it is one that's regularly regurgitated by these types, by Alex Jones and others, that Muslims actually are disrespectful to Jesus because we say that he's a prophet and he's not God. That we
we don't believe he's God.
We don't believe he died on the cross. They say that that's an insult. That we are insulting and ridiculing Jesus. Because
no, it's just a dispute over what happened. Yeah. It's just a difference of opinion. And the early Christians also didn't believe Jesus was God.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly.
So we're actually following the path of early Christianity.
I mean, we respect Jesus so much, and the prophets, all of the prophets, that Islam just doesn't say that God abandoned Jesus on the cross to die. God protected him and raised him up, and he's going to return again. Christianity's like, no, he's God, but God abandoned him. He's the Son of God, but God didn't come there.
We believe that is actually blasphemy against God, and it says in the Quran that is a blasphemy against God. It's a horrendous thing to say. That is our religious opinion, but we're not being disrespectful to you. We're just stating our religious opinion.
Absolutely.
Should we just quickly play out the Saudi Arabia video?
Oh yes,
and then maybe get to the comments.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's not dwell too much on this, but it's just one thing I want to say. Obviously, this is a music festival in Saudi Arabia, in Riyadh, the MD Beast Festival, I think. So raving, dancing, lewd dancing, transvestites galore, everything that...
really? Transvestites galore?
Yeah, transvestites as well. So basically everything that you shouldn't associate with the land of the two holy mosques, the birthplace of Islam, the land where the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ walked. This is an outrage. This is MBS's Saudi Arabia. And the reason why we highlight this, brothers and sisters, over other countries. I know other countries do sinful things like this. We highlight it because this is the land of the two holy mosques. This is the birthplace of Islam. This is the place where the Prophet Muhammad walked, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This is the land of Hajj and Umrah, and the land of miracles. I could go on and on and on. And it has a higher responsibility and a higher degree of responsibility to exemplify the true values of Islam than other countries. And that's why we highlight Saudi Arabia above other countries. That's all I want to say. Should we get to the comments?
Yeah, we've got some good ones. So yeah, I've gone through it. We promised last week that we would respond
and we're
to
finally
some.
fulfilling the promise.
We are fulfilling the promise, and I think we'll do this more regularly. We've got an end of year show coming next week, so maybe we'll do it again there, and we'll definitely do this into the new year as well. Because yeah, you guys, you've been saying a lot, and we deserve to platform you as well as you just watching us all the time. Dower Vision 1 said it's quite pathetic to see Christians clearly losing their debates and discussions with Muslims, yet many Christians will simply comment on Christian channels that Muslims are losers or have lost. Still, the mass conversions show that most people aren't falling for it. So that was a response to, I think we were talking about Christianity a bit last week, and the Dawa scene.
I've noticed this phenomenon even when I myself in the past and Dilly have done debates on national TV. What tends to happen is no matter what you say, no matter how you perform, your supporters will support you and your haters will hate you, even if you've wiped the floor with the opposition.
Yeah.
And it's that entrenched kind of attitude. But I do think there's a minority that will be swayed by actually what happened.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think it's the people that don't always comment, even the middle ground.
But it's true. Every time a Muslim, an educated Muslim, debates an educated Christian, the Muslim wins hands down, because obviously there's no credit to the Muslim for doing that particularly, because we've got a better product to sell. As simple as that. We've got the truth, and they've got a perverted version of the truth.
Yeah.
So we should be winning these debates.
Yeah, and I have to say, I think there's a lot of jealousy there, because the Christian, missionary scene, whatever you want to call it, their version of the Dawa scene, it's pretty dead. I mean, they do have some high-profile figures and people that do debates, but they're just not up to scratch, and they don't win clashes with their Muslim rivals, and even on their own platforms, it's just.
Have you noticed how Jehovah's Witnesses and just people doing Christian Dawa, they don't bother really with Muslim areas because they know that they're going to get pushback and that they're going to lose.
Yeah.
So they just go for the low-hanging fruit, the Tommy Robinson types or the ignorant types, maybe,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's like you say, it's just too many holes in the narrative, and it's just not enough to back up what they want you to believe. Luxury Life says, what you'll notice today is that the modern Christian debater, influencer, pundit can't actually preach Christianity successfully. Their primary objective is to clip farm and rage bait by attacking Islam. So we noticed this on X.
That's interesting, isn't it? Because obviously we're trying to sell our product, which is Islam, right? And we do that by selling our product, not by attacking the opposition. Of course, there's a place for attacking the opposition, but that's a minority of our activities. Whereas their activity is all about attacking Islam.
Yeah. We're responding because Islam is literally under attack globally.
Yeah.
So that's why on our show even we'll respond to these sound bites and stuff. It's literally because there's an onslaught. If those guys lacked a bit of influence, or would just take easy, focus on their own religion, we'd go back to just promoting Islam and just converting people. That's what we want to do. That's what Speaker's Corner was about originally, until it became politicized and people just started attacking us. And the Christians are really cheeky as well. They know what it's like when their prophet gets attacked or slandered by atheists, secular people, or even by Jewish people because they don't believe in Jesus. So they know what it's like when someone insults Jesus just to upset a Christian. But instead of learning and going, okay, we don't like it when they do it to us, we won't do it to the Muslims, they actually have taken on board the characteristics of their enemies, which is bad and sinful, and said, we'll do that too, because it works against us, so we'll do it against the Muslims. But the difference is we defend all prophets, and we're not ashamed of our beliefs, and we hold on to them. We're not for reforming or changing. We've also got Khan here, Khan7718. Responding to your story about the Islamophobia on the transport, I was verbally abused in a supermarket a few months ago because I look visibly Muslim, minding my own business, and was told that I wasn't welcome here. I called the man and his wife out, and there was some back and forth. Not one person, including the employees of the supermarket, some who were even young Muslim males that could hear what was happening, checked up on me or tried to intervene. Wow. One white woman did, and she ended up threatening me. So, long story short, decency and humanity is in major decline even amongst our own
See, that's
community.
what I notice is that people don't step in, and that's a real shame. And I think that we've got to encourage people, while keeping safe, to not tolerate this behavior, because it's wrong. And it's illegal, quite frankly, as well. It's actually against the law. So the law should be enforced. There's strength in numbers. So, if you see anything like this happening, even if it's against a non-Muslim, if a non-Muslim is being attacked, unjustly, then obviously we've got to defend the non-Muslim as well, because it's the right thing to do.
Yeah,
but we seem to have lost that in society. I think when I was growing up, if you were on a bus and people were being abused, everyone would step in, even the non-Muslims would step in and stuff like that. But that seems to have gone out of our society, that humanity and decency.
Yeah, I think it's just the way this country is as well. Like, I think people are worried that they'll get in trouble for stepping up, and they don't want to risk it.
Or they'll get attacked as well. And people are genuinely cowards now, They don't want to get into physical confrontation. And
I think even the police, like, they'll come and investigate when you've died after you've been stabbed or something. But if, like, someone's being a bully or nasty in the street, they won't necessarily do anything about it unless, you've got loads of evidence. Because they're not a just force. I think they have a law to follow, and they just process paperwork mostly. And, if you get stabbed to death, they'll come and clean up the scene. But it's not like a police officer can come necessarily, and you can just say, this guy did this, and then they'll, like, make the situation right. They're not the olden days of policing.
Bobby on the beat.
Yeah, Bobby on the beat, who knew his community and knew if there was something wrong going on and could act on it. Those days are long gone. We've got Sabina.
I love that one. I mean,
Sabina. This was
you chose the one where
this is the most important comment.
She rates you more than me, basically.
Yeah. So Sabina, God bless you, Sabina.
I'm just interesting to hear from. Whereas she loves brother Robert's raw and fag opinions. Fangirl.
Sabina, God bless her heart, a wonderful woman, I have to say. Don't know her personally, but she is brilliant.
Sorry, Sabina, I'm joking, right? I'm joking.
Says that love Brother Robert's raw and frank opinions. Brother Roshan, always interesting to hear from him. It's nice to hear from Roshan,
I think he's overrated.
Nice to
Sabina.
hear Roshan still going.
He's overrated.
I don't think so. I think if it wasn't for me, this show would just die.
Would tank, would it?
Yeah, it would tank. Yeah, sorry, Roshan, but the audience knows what it likes.
I think people
and
might
it knows what it
like
doesn't
listening to a grumpy old man.
Yeah, that does well, I'm sure.
It does actually.
Really?
That's what I watch on TikTok. Like grumpy old men moaning about the world. It's fantastic.
Well, thank you.
It was much better in my day when I was a lad. All right, let's go.
Yeah,
what about the last one?
Yeah, Sabina, thank you so much. God bless you. We do actually get a lot of comments of support. I highlighted one which I thought stood out to me. But in general, we get a lot of support comments. I do thank you all for that.
I do think you're more popular than me, though. Generally, I mean,
Thank you.
I do. I do also think that popularity is a fitna. So I think Allah is saving me from people liking me. That's the way I look at it. But no, you definitely are. You and Dilly are definitely more popular than me, and I have to admit that. But at the same time, I don't like saying that because I know you both got big heads. And it'll go to your head, and it's actually a fitna for you and Dilly.
It's haram to talk badly about your brothers, Roshan.
No, I'm doing it openly.
Badly. But yeah, it's we all have our own little audience here.
Yeah.
So whenever I go out, Dilly's without doubt, like, everyone asks
Don't
about
say
him.
that. It'll just go to his head.
Everyone asks
Let's
about
edit
him.
that out of the show.
A fair few people come up to me and they're like, yeah, I watch your show. I love Muslims Uncensored.
And I've had about one person in about 10 years.
Yeah, exactly. No. Yeah, so you've got like a tiny
believe
following.
it or not, I'm more popular than you think. But yeah, it tends to be the over 80
among the ones that aren't online, the ones that don't know how to use a phone. But yeah.
Well, a bit of love in the comments for me, maybe, brothers and sisters. I mean, even if you don't mean it, you know.
You don't have to. Roshan's got thick skin; he could deal with it. But yeah, one thing is with me, they recognize me as that white guy they like.
Yeah.
But they never know my name.
Token
They're not
white
sure
man,
where from.
Token white man that 5 pillars employed to tick a box.
The level of fame I'm on is the bit where they're like, I recognize that white guy from somewhere, but I don't know if I like him or hate him.
Yeah,
so I always get that look like, is that you? Do I like him? I don't know.
Let's read out the last one.
What a silly argument, assuming that by ousting that bloody thug Assad, Israel and the West somehow checkmated Muslims and Syria. Netanyahu just recently himself unveiled the fact that he's been in good warm relations with Putin all along during the damn ruling. They are both war criminals, according to the ruling by the ICC, and Islamophobes. Believe me, I am Kazakh, who always rooted for struggles by nations imprisoned, occupied and colonized by Russia, particularly for Chechen fighting for liberation in Islam. What a humiliation of Syrians, given what they have gone through under Assad's regime. Shame on you. So a few kind of opinions expressed there. I just thought because it's on Syria, it's a good one.
Look, facts are facts. We've gone, obviously, you know, people can't see nuance, can they, with Syria? They're on one side or the other. And what we came up, I think, is a truthful, nuanced opinion that we're glad that Assad is gone and that the Syrian people can breathe, and he was a brutal dictator. And, you know, even viewing the scenes of millions on the streets, I think that speaks for itself, that the Syrian people are happy that he's gone. But at the same time, Syria has moved into the Western orbit. It's beholden to the West. The West is allies with Israel. The facts are facts. And we're not here to sugarcoat the truth. We're not here to mislead our audience. We're here to say it as we see it and think it, and that's what we've done. That's all I can say.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think we've covered a lot of ground in this show. Thanks again for tuning in, and please do leave us more of those comments. Like I say, we're going to make more of an effort to react to the best comments, particularly praise of me. I think we'll highlight those going forward, and any praise you want to give to Roshan as well.
And next week's show is going to be an end of year show where we'll be looking at the major stories from the year and summing them up with Dilly, inshallah.
Yeah, we're going to talk about all of the biggest hits from 5 Pillars and just the biggest stories as well. We've gone viral many times. We've had a real impact this year, and it's been a big year. But brothers and sisters, I think next year and the years going on are going to be big as well, just because maybe the genocide's going to wind down in Gaza. We've still got a lot to discuss and a lot of big obstacles ahead, challenges which we face. And I think 5 Pillars is going to be there trying its best to cover all of those stories and making an impact. So just a reminder to keep supporting us as well. Obviously, I'll put the link in there if you want to support our journalism directly. You can also sign up and become a regular contributor towards 5 Pillars, but also just making sure that you share our content as well. You know, I think one of the biggest problems that we face is censorship. People are attacking us, if not with complete bans and takedowns of accounts, they're shadow banning and all that type of stuff as well. So just sharing stories, liking, commenting underneath, that helps the algorithm to push our stuff. And that's obviously a very important way that you can support us day to day, really, on whatever platform you're watching, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, or anything else. So without anything else to say, Roshan, I think we can end the show there. But thank you for your support. It is appreciated, and we'll catch you next week for the end of year roundup, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa salama for now.